Hello. In this clip from our Justia webinar, Charisma in Person and on LinkedIn, Business Development for Attorneys, Mark Halpert walks us through what LinkedIn is, its relation with the legal profession, and how LinkedIn and charisma play an important role in an attorney's image. If you want to see more Justia videos on law practice and legal marketing, be sure to subscribe to our channel.
Another epic presentation by Scott Mason, and I've seen him present many times, and they're amazing. They really are. I hope you got lots of good things out of this. I'm going to follow up on this right now and bring this good energy up. We are all required to be a lot bigger and better on our screen than we think others believe we are. And this is just one of the facts of social media today and how people buy social media. But there's a problem, and that is most people feel like this guy on the screen. What do we do? Where do we start? What do we do? Why don't I know what to do to start here? And then, it's the reasons are we weren't taught to talk about ourselves. That goes back to elementary school. We really don't want to spend the time, nor do we really think that we have the patience to learn a new program. Who knows how long that'll take. It wasn't taught to you in law school. It's still, unfortunately, not being taught in law school. There is no LinkedIn course on the job. Very few law firms or organizations bring in LinkedIn trainers to teach LinkedIn on a group training basis, and that's a real shame because that's a great branding opportunity. And there are very few courses that really address LinkedIn for lawyers. So most lawyers find suddenly they have to market themselves, but they never thought they'd have to. And that could be because you worked in a large firm for a long time, you had a marketing department, and suddenly you decided you're going to go out on your own, be a solo, hang out your shingle, wait for the phones to ring, and they don't ring. So you got to go out and market, and you have to continuously feed that funnel to market yourself. Well, that's an on-the-job, all-the-time requirement, and you never had to do that before. There's a lot of people who do not make themselves attractive on LinkedIn or any other social medium. We never really had to sit down and write or assess. We talked a lot about self-assessment a few minutes ago, about what makes us special, different. Where is the reason that somebody would engage with you? Because they found inspiration from what they heard or saw you say or do. They never had access to a tool like LinkedIn because it is still the only thing like it around for business professionals, especially professional practitioners. LinkedIn still likes to think of itself as a job board. It still markets itself as a job board, which to me is very odd. And I don't work for LinkedIn, so basically I can say whatever I want. But it's really not a job board entirely. LinkedIn keeps changing. There were 165 changes to LinkedIn in 2023 alone, and it gets harder and harder to use. Things go in funny places, things get hidden, and then entire functions disappear. And there's a huge amount of angst and anxiety around the ever-changing algorithm of LinkedIn, and people try to feed that beast, and it's an unnecessary effort, in my opinion. And then a lot of people just can't attribute the ROI to LinkedIn, so they just decide to ignore it. Well, I'm here to tell you that all that's wrong and that you shouldn't feel like this guy. And I want you to think of what LinkedIn really is. It's about branding yourself when everybody else around you looks exactly the same. How does somebody remember you from the pack? And I made a word up a couple of years ago, amazinger. And it works every time. And LinkedIn is about being amazinger than the competition. So if somebody says, I need an attorney who, your name and face come to mind. That's the very best thing that can happen. Or at least there's a function like LinkedIn that lets them find people like you. We'll talk a little bit more about that. So you want that red line drawn around you from all the rest of the other attorneys in your firm, in another firm down the hall, in the building, on the block, on the street, in the town, in the city, in the state that you live in the country you live in, because now we have global access, 24/7, 366 this year. LinkedIn is successful. When you remain true to yourself and say the things that you need to say, but stay in the lane that keeps you saying the best about yourself. And again, it's not being boisterous or larger than life. It's being true and honest with yourself. And I'll bring this slide back again later because I truly believe that you never really learn something the first time you see or hear it. You have to be reinforced with it at the end for the main theme. So that's why it'll come back. So get ready for that. LinkedIn is a door. It's a portal. It opens two ways. LinkedIn allows the reader to see you by looking into you and what is the brand of why you. It opens that door. LinkedIn also allows you to push out your brand, push out your charisma, so they'll want to engage with you and they can find you. So it's really fine points here, but nonetheless, the door is always open on LinkedIn. It runs all the time. And I'm amazed at how in the middle of the night, there's so much banter on LinkedIn and good quality conversation occurs all the time in every language, every day. And finally, that two-way portal is eventually going to be your career story. What you tell others about where you came from makes you who you are today. What they give back to you today and helps you face your future. So there are a lot of problems that you could solve for other people. And there are a lot of things that other people can provide you additional experience you've never had and makes you better at what you do. And you stay in that lane and you expand that lane as you feel comfortable. But charisma is not being outward bound. It's listening to others. You need to poke your head out from under the herd and clue into what's being discussed. What are people interested in? Because you can talk all day long. If they're not interested in what you're talking about, no one's going to retain your name or how to find you. You can listen to what other people say and evaluate it. And you can agree with them and add value every time. Just saying I agree or a thumbs up or clapping hands doesn't tell the originator anything. Tell them why you appreciated it, where the value came to you. And you can disagree professionally as well. Create conversation around a topic. Because the way we learn is by the way we argue and we find new ways to do things. You can put new ideas forth on LinkedIn. And in doing all this and doing this consistently and reliably and relevantly, you become referable as the go-to expert. You want to be the go-to. You want people to remember you and think about you every time they need you because you've delivered high quality, you've delivered reliability, you're consultative and responsive and in the moment. So stay on top of the advances in your field, whatever field that may be, whatever subfield that may be, and listen to what others are saying. And if you hear that they're coming up a little short in what they need to know, jump in if that's your area of expertise, or bring somebody in with you to do that. And often these can be very, very additive aspects of your career. LinkedIn is the place to speak up. And I love this slide because it perks you up, it wakes you up within professional ethical boundaries. And I stress the ethics in the legal profession. And I am not going to touch ethics beyond saying that you know what your ethics are. And on LinkedIn, everything you put on LinkedIn came from you, with the exception of endorsements for your skills and recommendations. And those both are approved by you or should be taken down by you if they are untrue. If somebody endorses you for a skill they've never seen you had, by ethics, you should take their endorsement down. And recommendations come to you, and you should not post recommendations for you if they contravene the ethics in the field. And you were responsible for this, nobody else. Tell us and we'll never know. So many people say, well, I never told you this, or something comes up in conversation. Where is that on LinkedIn? Where is that in your profile? That's a salient point. That's a decision-making point for people. You need to tell us things that we need to know. If you hold them inside, you are hurting yourself. You are shortchanging yourself. And in telling us, make us want to know more. Because people read your LinkedIn profile from the top down to the extent you can get them to read as far down as possible. You will engage them. They will contact you. You work your magic from there to win that piece of business. I can only help you get to their attention. Make each verbal contact you have with them reinforce what they've read with you on LinkedIn, so no buzzers go off in their head of a mismatch. Oh, that's not the person I'm hearing in my earphone who I read about on LinkedIn. He described himself, she described herself on LinkedIn differently than what I'm hearing. They stop listening. They're not interested anymore because they contacted you because of what they read. So make whatever you put on LinkedIn about your personal story, your career narrative, really reflect in your language, in the way you express yourself, what it is that you want people to hear, understand, and be inspired by. So when they contact you, they continue along that road and reverberate in the perception of you as a thought leader. People will remember you. They will bring business to you. They will refer you to people who need to find you on the short list of people to consider. And this will happen frequently, only if you are yourself. So if you're a solo or a small firm, you may not have all the expertise in-house, but you thrive and you succeed by the colleagues who gather around you, and you're as good as the people that are in your chain. Said another way, your network is your net worth. If your network is no good, or if there's a weak link in the network, then the chain is broken. So remember that the gears grind together. We all refer upon each other. We rely upon each other. I can feel very comfortable saying to anybody, you need to contact Scott Mason. He can help you with that. I don't even have to get Scott's permission because I know him so well. I am a constant referrer of Scott Mason and of many other people, and they know they can help my referee. And I know I don't have to worry about them following up on the referral, and they'll do a grand job of it. And that's when you are reliable, and that's when you are referable. And until you earn that, you have to work at that, and you have to keep working at it even after you've earned the reliability. Because if you stumble, you've lost all that forward momentum. So you have to do great things. You have to say great information, share great content. Make it a culture around you. Make it the culture of your firm. Make it the culture of your department, your practice area. You post material. You add your opinion on other people's posts. You comment and create conversation around something. And I always get the question, how often should I post? And the simple answer is you comment as frequently as you have something valuable and you're energetic and engaging to say. And if you do that and you continue to create that culture around you, you will find that you will end up commenting 3 or 4 times a week. And that's a good thing. But 3 or 4 times is not the bogey. It's every time you have something that's valuable for the market. That helps you stay visible, because anytime you leave LinkedIn or you do not comment on LinkedIn, you are forgotten. So you need to be relevant. And that goes for vacations and leaves of absence. You can program LinkedIn to layer in your commentary on certain time frames and certain days. It's all there. It's all a function there. So I want you, as I said, to be amazinger. I want you to be fascinating-er, because you have to continue to build on that fascination, on that amazingness. You never want to just like something with an emoji or clapping hands to celebrate. You are educated, elevated people. You should be commenting with rich, engaging words. Why? You look smarter that way. Why? The person who you are commenting to feels and understands what you liked about what they said, and that helps them say more things to the audience, and it helps you become part of their closest audience. So reconnect with former colleagues, connect with people, and say to them, if you have some connectivity there, hey, you and I talk really well together on this conversation. Why don't we continue this? And every time I post something, you give me a comment. Every time you post something, I'll give you a comment. We both promise each other we'll only comment on each other when it's valuable and it creates additional conversation. Keep people up to date. Let us know what you're doing. Let us know you're putting the last minute polish on a presentation, or you're finished with a case that had great consequences, or what you've learned from working on a case. Tell us where you are. Vulnerability is great, but being able to say, I am smart enough, big enough to accept my vulnerability, and I'm continuously working, creates that, and learning creates that culture of content around you. So Emile Zola, I love this quote, we're like books. Most people only see us on the outside. Very few read only the introduction, and most people just believe what other people say about us. Now, our content comes from us, so we have to give our content. And those few who will actually know our content, I'm absolutely convinced, will want to read the whole book and will want to read that book again and again. So Emile Zola was really on target with that. I'm going to show you some things to know about creating a currency around you of positive judgment, that a currency like you spend money, like you give something back in return for the spending of money. So craft your profile to make people want to know more. I said that before, I'll say it again. So you absorb it, you understand it in a new context. Don't leave gaps. Always wonder, what are the gaps in employment? Why did I leave one firm and go to another firm? Why did I take a time off and have to go off the working grid and go back to work? Because if you don't tell us, we're going to fabricate reasons, and that's not a good thing. Why are there differences in my experience, in my area of expertise? Explain that. And why have my ideas changed? And explain that. Because the distraction eclipses the positive momentum. So get in front of that problem. When you project your charisma outwardly, you are not self-serving. You are giving. It's that door. It's that portal. It's giving out through the portal so that they can come into the portal and accept and learn from what you have. So project so people will want to gather around you. Your message should be a message that hushes all the noise around everybody but you and the person that you are talking to. Like you're in a big room and everybody's talking, and you only want the laser beam focus of the person you're talking to only hear and listen to what you're saying despite the noise. And use this context of what you're talking about and great content on top of that to offer views and share material that they may not ever have heard of, so they can recognize you're bringing it to them in a new and unusual way. And further on this idea, comment and pivot when necessary and customize to the audience and offer a unique perspective that the audience will appreciate and deliver that news and that information. It's never the boilerplate oration that you pulled off the shelf that you just presume works for everybody. And if you remember Star Trek, Mr. Spock had the Vulcan mind meld. Meld with the minds of the people you're talking to. Create that fusion between the two of you. Instant rapport. And don't leave it there. Build on it with time, additively. So conversations lead to comments on LinkedIn. Comments build your charisma. Charisma is felt in the afterglow of having worked with you, and people want to refer you and repeat that again. That whole cycle works so effectively on LinkedIn. So network up, connect with the highest quality people for the highest quality signals that you can give them and they can give you. Learn from them, admit you don't know everything, and all parties benefit. And there will be times when somebody you've networked up with who knew something you didn't know needs you because you know something they don't know, and everybody benefits. And generously be a referral source of best-in-class colleagues, and it will be repaid forward. If you haven't seen that movie, or if you saw it a long time ago, see it again, because pay it forward is is what social media and primarily LinkedIn on business is all about. So practical tip in all this stuff is make them glued to your commentary. Catch their attention. Use creative language in all ways you can. You have so much space on LinkedIn to make your point and make it again in a different context and impress somebody. And make it easy to contact you in your contact information. Be sure there's every which way to communicate with you that is possible, including your mobile phone number, because there are some out there who only want to text and get your attention immediately. If you give your business phone number, no one can text your business number, and that's a dead end. Invoke people's names, invoke company names in your posts. You have enticed them by using their name and appealing to their ego, and they will feel likely obligated to comment, and you thank them for invoking your name in thanking them for their shout out. Best to reply to comments within 24 hours, within a couple of hours, in words, and to make the conversation go further. And that allows you to put it back to the other person to give you a little time to collect and recast your comment back to that person. So it's all about using time effectively, using your voice effectively, using your persona effectively, using your experience effectively. And encourage intelligent discussion among all peers, because I am absolutely amazed at the number of LinkedIn coaches I learn from and who learn from me. They are my cooperators. I cooperate with them as much as I compete with them, and often I learn more than I compete with them for. So I am constantly learning, as are all of us. So great content allows you to share. Great content allows you to keep us up to date. Great content allows you to create original material. And great content allows you to show the value you offer, so we feel confident in referring you. Be a thinker, like the picture. So there are 4 ways that I really want you to understand when you begin to write posts to write the best posts you possibly can. And your post in your mind, before you write it, you know what you want to say, but you're not quite sure where it falls. These 4 sections may give you some ideas. First of all, what do you want your connections or followers to know on LinkedIn that they don't know yet? And that can be fact-based material, information, features, new cases, newsworthy events, new developments in research, that type of thing. You're imparting data and information and wisdom from your experience. Once you've imparted data, you can follow up, or you may even just skip the imparting of data. What do you want them to feel emotionally or cerebrally? And Scott talked about this as well, to appreciate your contribution to them. They may not know this or feel this yet, but you feel it. And therefore, if you feel it and you're a recognized authority, you are making your work a part of their work. So feel confident, folks, in relying upon me. This is what you're saying. I am giving you something to feel and spread. And with a call to action, do you feel this way? What would it take to make you understand and work this way? Has this helped you? How can I help you further? Call to action is what we want. You may jump right to a belief factor, or the knowledge and the feeling may lead to a belief factor in a series of posts. This is what I want you to believe that you don't believe yet. And let me tell you why it's a fresh viewpoint. And it's crazy. It seems ridiculous. It seems different. No one's ever thought this way or expressed it. Or I've experimented, or I have experience and I've come to these conclusions. Or I've done research in business or the law. And these are things that you need to know and you need to believe because you haven't been quite left to understand them yet. And you can repurpose all the old ways of thinking, all the isms from before the pandemic to what we are in the new now, which is constantly changing. So the belief factor is a constant motion. And finally, what do you want them to do? At the end of the day, no matter what they know, if they do nothing with it, no matter what they feel or believe, if they do nothing with it, it's for naught. You want them to share your content. Please share my content with 5 of your best colleagues who can benefit from it. It's a great way to call to action. Please comment on my post if you think that I've given you some new information, how it might help you in your business or in your practice. Please, if you don't agree, let's be professional. Tell me why you think I'm incorrect, and maybe we both can learn from each other. Please engage with me for more conversation like Scott did at the end of his presentation, call to action. Please refer to others. Please refer me to others who may need to know these things I know, these things I feel, these things I believe that you now know, feel, and believe. And how can we help each other? At the end of the day, this is about helping people. This is what we're here for. So wrapping this up quickly here, there are 3 R's and 4 C's that I've created in my posts. I've talked about relevance, reliability, and referability a lot already. This is to be top of mind in everything you do, not only on your profile, but on your posts. And then there's 4 C's. Be concise, be clear. Don't just write for lawyers, because there are a lot of lawyers who are reading your profile who will turn off to a lawyerly LinkedIn profile. Be yourself, be a human, and tell us where you can help us. Be cogent. Use words richly. I don't have to tell lawyers that. They do that very well already. Be consistent. At least try to do 2 times a week on posting, especially when you have something compelling. And it may be a couple of times a day on those days when you have something compelling in a breaking news situation. And make it all wrap up to who you are as the go-to person, the memorable person for all this. So conversational. As you write your post, write your profile, let Microsoft's read aloud function in Microsoft Word and in Outlook read it aloud in an artificial voice and listen to what the voice is saying to you. And you will find that you have many things to change that your eye missed as you speed read through it, that your ear doesn't hear as fast. And that is a good time to recalculate. Craft your story. Stay away from acronyms. Give me white space between your paragraphs, not big, thick chunks of documentation. People, non-lawyers, will not read this. They will leave. They will not come back. And it's okay to use contractions in more casual language. We're in a more casual universe right now, but always try to aim for wider conversation. So comments on thoughtful words, please, no emojis. Use great words. Tell us why. Be amazinger. All those sort of things. Now, hang on their radar screen because they're constantly receiving tremendous amounts of information. Make yourself the one-stop shopping for whatever somebody needs to get the information that you provide. And nourish your colleagues around you. Your colleagues need to be your voice and your helping ears as well. They're there to help you. Be sure that you can refer people. And as the wrap up here, why you? Why you of all the people in your firm, in the street, on the street, anywhere that they are? Why do I want to talk to you? Why is it that you do what you do? Make yourself amazinger. Show your LinkedIn URL on all of your pages, personal pages on the firm's bio to cross-reference from the website to LinkedIn, and show the logo of your firm in your experience section of your LinkedIn profile. 2 really simple, easy things to do, but I love to throw them in the wrap-up. So stay in lane, folks. Be as successful and as attractive as you can be, remaining true to yourself, and stay in the lane. I wrote a book on this topic for the American Bar Association. It's now in 2nd edition. It's available on Kindle or on the American Bar Association. It is about how to market yourself as a lawyer or any other legal professional, and it also extends to other professional practices out there as well, like accountancy and architecture as well. So this is where you can find me. You will get a PDF of the slides and all this information, and you can contact me, contact Scott as you see fit. I'll stop sharing my slides so we can grab some questions.
Thanks for watching. We hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did enjoy it, please hit the like button and subscribe to our channel for more videos on law practice and legal marketing. See you in our next clip.